found myself yet again, like in a place of burnout. And I just thought, is my life just going to be one debilitating job after another until I die? Which I didn't want that to be the case. And the universe sent y'all to me. I would say one of the most impactful parts of the sabbatical was, for the first time in my adult life, kind of experiencing my body's natural rhythms.
Did you start pooping every day? And was that a revelation or what? Like,
hey everyone, so excited to be here with you today because we are bringing you none other than sabbatical coach Nyam to talk about her experience helping women take sabbaticals. Women or everybody? Actually,
everybody.
We don't get back to that. We don't get back to that real quick. I'm going to tell you the story the way I want to tell the story. My name is Rashida Dow, and that's what I do. I am one half of the ExodUS Summit team with my partner in crime, Stephanie Perry.
Hello.
And we are here because Nyam is a coach in our Exodus world, in the Exodus cinematic universe. Nyam has been here for a while with us, and we're so excited to talk to you about what she's been doing, who she's helping, how she can help people, and where she learned all her good stuff from. Hi. Nyam, tell the people about yourself.
Yes. Well, yes, to that point, I do have to give shout out to Rashida, who is the OG sabbatical coach, where I learned everything that I know. And in terms of kind of who I am and what I do, so I partner with mid-career corporate and tech professionals to help them navigate career breaks, whether they're intentionally planned or if they're forced like through something like a layoff, to navigate it intuitively, creatively, and joyfully. And I really seek to do that through incorporating poetry, through music, through presence and guided reflection to support them through that journey so that they can really make that transition transformation and really an avenue of reclamation as well. So that's what I'm seeking to do with the folks that I work with in my community and in business.
That sounds amazing. When did you decide that you wanted to do this?
Yes. In terms of this, I'll start a little bit further back on the journey. So in terms of my story, when I was 23, entered the working world. And I entered very much as, at heart, I'm really a sensitive, creative girly. So I graduated from college, but I ended up in Silicon Valley, which, if you know anything about Silicon Valley, is very, very male dominated and also often very, very aggressive, very like go hard grind. So very different than how I was, but entered into that world, started working at a startup. And I definitely was a fish out of water. And through that journey, there was one hand where I saw, wow, I'm really capable of a lot more than I thought I was. But it also was kind of the kickoff to this journey of feeling like I needed to contort myself in certain ways to be in corporate America, because it's like, you can't really be a sensitive, soft person in those contexts. And it also kind of kicked off these cycles of burnout throughout my career. So fast forwarding then to 2021. So at this point, I've been working like 15 years as a product manager. And I hit a point, was working remotely from home during the pandemic. Despite having grown so much in terms of advocating for myself in my career, found myself yet again, like in a place of burnout. And I just thought, is my life just going to be one debilitating job after another until I die? Which I didn't want that to be the case. And the universe sent y'all to me. I saw your stories on YouTube. I binged the 12 days of career
Wow.
break because I was like, oh, wow, look at these Black women who are taking career breaks. I want to do that too. And so, so that really led me to that journey of taking my own sabbatical and career break and experiencing just how much of a transformation that was for me. And then in turn, seeing how I had peers within tech, within corporate, who are in a similar place of experiencing what I call career grief, experiencing burnout, experiencing disillusionment, but not necessarily having a place to process those things or having partnership in terms of navigating transitions, in terms of creating a career break and really making it impactful for them. So that was really kind of the seed to me making the choice to create a business that could create really an avenue and community for folks to experience that type of transformation.
Okay, that's amazing. I know that I also worked in tech, and it's very boys don't cry, regardless of whether you're a boy or not. It's very like, yes, everybody hates this, but we all get to hate it together. And there's no space for, hey, like what you're doing is not good for my mental health,
Yeah.
even though a lot of times that's the situation we're put in, right? And so for me, my tech journey ended in a layoff, and it was a layoff or a mental health break. One of those was going to happen, right? Like I know I was on the path to a breakdown. And so when the business, when they went, so you do right by me, right? Like when they were going out of business, I was like, oh, okay. Because it was not a sustainable business model, but it also wasn't a sustainable working model. And no one cared, right? It was very, if you can take care of yourself, but we don't. If you die here, we're going to step over your body and move on with the project. And that's, while that is applauded in a lot of parts of the world, I think more people hate it than like it, but the people that hate it are typically the ones who don't have the power to change it. The ones who like it are the ones that are financially benefiting from it in very significant ways. And it's not a sustainable model, and it's not a community-minded one that is going to allow us as a society to push forward, right? If everyone wants to do what they're doing in tech, and what we're doing in tech is killing people, where are we going, right? As a workforce. So I'm glad you got out, got free, and you're here with us now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your own sabbatical? So you said in 2021, you were like, this is burnout and I can't keep going like this. So when and where and how did you take a sabbatical? Tell us everything, please.
Yeah. So in 2021, in February 2021, got linked up with Rashida, joined her coaching program. And so 2021 did the kind of planning and prep. And then I kicked off my sabbatical January 2022. It was about 1 year total. My original vision was I'm gonna bop all around the world. I'm not gonna stop, and I'm just gonna keep going from place to place to place. But that was when there was like the Omicron variant of COVID, and there was still a lot of like, you need to show proof of this test, and different places had different things, and that sounded stressful. So I was like, I want to do that. So I did more of a model of, I had a home base in Atlanta. That's where my parents are, because I'd moved back with them. And so I bounced to places. I went to Mexico City and Oaxaca City. I went to Portugal, which is where I spent most of my time, to Spain, to Colombia, and to Ghana, which is where my dad's side of the family is. So that was that experience in terms of traveling. And I also took time to really rest a lot. Even though I was going to these different places, I would say one of the most impactful parts of the sabbatical was, for the first time in my adult life, kind of experiencing my body's natural rhythms. And, because it was like, oh, like I don't have to wake up, at like 6 a.m. or whatever time. I don't have to be according to a company's timetable or schedule. And that experience of being more in tune with my body also connected me more to my intuition, because I think that was the other key thread of my sabbatical was really seeing how, really coming back in tune and home to myself through the experience of reconnecting to my body.
Okay. What would you say is like the superficial highlight of your sabbatical?
The superficial highlight. I'll say one of my favorite parts was, so I went to Portugal. That was where I spent a lot of my time. I was in Lisbon, and I went on kind of a group tour thing, and there was actually a group of, it was like Black running group from London, who was there. They were there for a marathon, and they were super, super fun. And so just getting the chance to meet with them, to connect with them, hang out with them for the day. And they actually came to Atlanta last year because there was a marathon there, and I reconnected with them. So it was just throughout the sabbatical experience and traveling, making friends throughout the world, and some people that I'm still, still in touch with. And it's like, oh, if I'm going to this place, I'm like, oh, let me hit up so-and-so. Let me hit up so-and-so in this place. So I think that was really, that was another gift of the time for sure.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience when you're traveling and you get to do that. And it's very like, it does require you to leave some of the mentalities that are prevalent in the US, like no new friends behind, because everybody's new, right? Like, when you go to a place where you don't know anybody, everybody's new. And if you want a friend, it's going to be a new friend. And so it's amazing that you were able not only to just make friends in the moment, but to keep them over time. So
yeah. And I think that's another aspect of traveling solo, because I traveled solo, that it's also this opportunity to, I think there can be a lot of great things about traveling with a group, but I think traveling solo also gives you a chance to reinvent yourself in a way, because like you're saying, because it's like, I don't know anybody. I'm also in a different culture, in a different place. So I think then I learn new things about myself, even as I learn the place, and then I make new connections. And that also is a way, I think, to change and grow as well.
Yeah. Can you tell us how you picked where you went for that sabbatical? Mexico City, Oaxaca, Lisbon, Colombia, Spain? How did you pick those places?
Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly have to say some of it was just through the train of like everybody's going to these places. I'm hearing about it, so let me check it out as well. So I would say that was a case for Mexico City and for Portugal, because that had just kind of come onto the radar, or everybody and their mother was going there. In terms of Mexico, though, with Oaxaca, I actually went to Oaxaca in 2015. That was my first solo travel trip ever. And so it holds significance for me, because it was the first time I made a choice to, my friends couldn't travel with me. I was leaving a job. I was going to have a break in between roles, and I wanted to go somewhere. And I took the leap to go there, and I felt like it was I feel like Oaxaca City is like such a rich creative center. I feel like there's such a beautiful energy there. So that was part of why I went to Oaxaca City in particular, in terms of choosing there. And I will also say, in terms of the theme of rest, I feel like while I was there, though, I had a lot of deep napping, a lot of profound napping happened there.
Amazing.
Which was beautiful. And then otherwise, in terms of other locations, I did also go to Ghana, which is where my dad's side of the family was from. So had time to also connect connect with family there. And then Colombia, I have a number of former colleagues that are Colombian because we have teams that are distributed. And so I had worked with them, but only worked with them virtually. And so it was a chance to get to connect with them in person, which was a beautiful time getting to know them.
Wonderful. Where in Colombia? I'm in Bogota right now. I'm muted because it's thundering right now. But where in Colombia?
I went to Medellin and Santa Marta. So I didn't get over to Bogota.
I've never been to Santa Marta, but it's always on my list. I got to get there someday.
It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Much less, it's more sort of like, it feels a little bit more like a town-ish than city, but beautiful beaches. There's also Tayrona National Park, which is a really stunning national park there. You do need to I think there's a shuttle as well. You do need to hike like an hour to get into the park, which I was not informed of that properly.
Thank you for sharing.
I should research, but my friend that lives there, she's like, yeah, like, let's go. I was like, I asked her, do I need to bring my sneakers? And she's like, no, like, you don't need any of that. And so here I am, an hour hiking in some sandals. I was like, girl, but it's worth it. But I think there is a shuttle if you want to bypass the hour hike.
So we will take note of that for when we go there. We go on our adventure there. Now, you said that during your sabbatical, you kind of like got more acquainted with your body's natural rhythm. What was the biggest change for you?
Mm-hmm. You mean kind of from like what my pace had been like before, and then, or like kind of the transformation aspect of it?
She means, did you start pooping every day? And was that a revelation or what? Like,
that was my experience in my sabbatical I would say, Stephanie knows, about like a month into it, I was pooping every morning. And I was like, is that what we're supposed to live? This is what I've been missing out on because I've been so bound up by stress. Yeah, Stephanie knew exactly what I meant. That was it. So did you poop? Tell us more.
Yes, I did. I think the biggest thing for me was that I had always had like really bad sleep, like from stress. And it was always, I just felt like I was perpetually tired. So I remember just feeling like I would wake up during my sabbatical and being like, oh, I feel refreshed. This is how people, you can feel this way, and you can feel this way regularly. What a revelation.
It's so interesting that we live our whole lives, and until there's a break from the life that life we've created that we probably think is great in a lot of ways, we don't realize what we're missing out on. Right? Like, I was exhausted after I took my sabbatical. Well, during my sabbatical when I was there, like all I wanted to do most of the time was sleep. And like I said, I was much more regular, and I had been so irregular, but I had to at some point go to the doctor. But I was like, no one, according to my doctor, it was always physical. There was no aspect of it that was like, this is your body's reaction to burnout, stress, to overwork, to the fact that like you are on the edge. It was just like, eat more fiber. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Okay.
Right. I think we're also very much programmed that's also normal. You know what I mean? That it's like, it's normal. It's like, oh, you're tired, but like everybody's tired.
Everybody's tired. You're sad. Everybody's sad.
Yeah. I guess.
You're stressed. Everybody's stressed.
Yeah. And so, and the idea that you would take a break or even have the audacity to be like, you know what, this is not what I want for my life. That then people look at you like you're crazy because you don't want to live in this corporate grind that doesn't care about you.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's explore it. When you left corporate job, you left tech, you left that world, what was the feedback from your coworkers, from your friends, from your family?
Yeah, it's such a good question. There is I think particularly because of, sabbatical coach, that's a very kind of niche thing. People are like, huh?
I know.
And I remember talking to a former colleague when, because I'd still been doing kind of contracts on and off, and like, hey, I'm actually going to make the choice to like focus in on my business. And he was kind of like, all right, like it's really bad economy. Like, you sure you want to do that? So I think that there's confusion. I think that there's kind of I think there's kind of a sense that like I think a lot of people don't necessarily have a category or frame of reference for taking the leap to, I would say, kind of invest in yourself. And also to do so in a way where you're seeking to also be of service to others, right? So I think that connects so much into, I would also say even kind of with the Get Your Next Three Clients challenge, as well as I would even say the work that I do with folks in terms of sabbaticals, in the sense of cultivating this deep grounding in the vision that you have, in the decisions that you're making for yourself, because these are countercultural decisions. And so, so if you're going to be making them, the backside of them can be, a really profound sense of freedom and feeling more aligned. But there's probably also a good chance where you're going to experience that friction, right? From folks who are in your life, from folks who don't understand. And so really needing to cultivate, needing to cultivate that self-belief and self-trust, that what's best for yourself, right? Ultimately, not the societal decisions. And I do feel like that was a theme of what y'all also kind of teach and seek to form in folks during the Get Your Next Three Clients challenge. That it's like, this is also about you pursuing your own liberation through creating your own business.
You're right. You're exactly right in calling this way of this approach countercultural, right? It's more than just off the beaten path. The whole culture, all of society is telling you to do things not this way, right? Not to consider your own needs, not to prioritize yourself. So seeing as how this was countercultural, did you have to also overcome your own objections? And did you have you returned to a traditional job since 2021?
Yeah, both good questions. Yeah, so I haven't gone back to full-time work. Like, I've gone in and out of like freelance contracts, which a lot of times still feel like full-time work. But yes, like absolutely, there has been, and I would say even continues to be, a need for personal evolution, right? Because, and I think that personal evolution really comes back to unlearning and deprogramming a lot of what was put into me from corporate America and tech, with a lot of that being not taking risk. A lot of that being, you have to have this very particular type of job in this way, with paycheck coming in to, every couple of weeks. And really, I think that the most profound evolution is really placing value on my gifts, on my experience, in a way that I just don't think the corporate world does that. And it's a really profound journey to, to start to cultivate that sense of worthiness, that I'm willing to bet on myself and willing to take a risk to grow something.
Okay. What you said also earlier that, I think you said it and I didn't make it up. We may have implied that you learned something about yourself on your sabbatical. What did you learn?
In terms of what I learned about myself, I did actually also work with like a leadership coach during that time. I would say that I'd say that I kind of returned to myself. In that I am very much a creative. I write, I do music, and I realized during my sabbatical just how disconnected I'd been from that part of myself. And my sabbatical was kind of the start of also seeing that my creative work could actually be an avenue to impact others. And like it can also be, now with the business that I have now, this can actually be a core aspect, of the service that I'm offering to people. So again, that's why I would say, I think those career breaks and the sabbaticals, when you're out of the grind of, the day-to-day, like just clock in, clock out, it creates so much space, which sometimes can feel, maybe can feel uncomfortable, but I think it creates that space to have those kinds of revelations that can prompt you and help you leap into something new.
Yeah. In my experience in seeing women who've taken sabbaticals, we talk to women who've taken sabbaticals or women who've moved abroad a lot. It's the women who've taken sabbaticals who often end up running a business that they really love, where they love the clients, they love the work, they love everything, because they've taken, like you said, they've taken the time, they've gotten to know themselves, right? They have seen, with some distance, they've seen how they fell into some of the corporate things before, right? And now with some distance, they can also see they don't want to go back to those things. And so they're more likely to start their own business, do something for themselves. And it's a situation where like that, you don't have to take the break to get there, but almost everyone who does take the break eventually ends up there and be like, I can't go back to that old life, right? However, whatever I have to do to do things differently, I'm willing to do it, because I can't go back to a place where I'm tired every day, right? I can't go to a place where I'm physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and tomorrow I get more of the same. And that's something I've noticed from sabbatical takers, is given the space, if they go back, they don't always go back to work, but if they do go back to some kind of work for money situation, they tend to be more aligned. Yeah. And so I'm glad that you're there now.
Yeah. And it's also been, it's been cool seeing, like, with a couple of my clients that have that they've finished sabbaticals, that they're like, well, yeah, like one client is like, I don't want to go back to work.
No, of course not.
And see, like they experience the transformation of that break. And to your point, and this is why it is such a transformation that you also see that something different is possible. Right. And it's possible to have a life where you enjoy your life, where you enjoy your work, because I think also part of the cultural narrative is like, work just sucks. And everybody, you just have to, just suck it up and just keep doing that, until, you're 70 and can retire, and then you die.
That's right. That's right.
When I was at the law firm, the managing partner took me out, asked me to meet him for breakfast at the Columbus Athletic Club one day. Fancy. It's my first time there. Fancy. Yay. And he was like, I heard you're unhappy. Every associate's unhappy. You just have to deal with it. And I was like, you didn't have to ask me to come in early to meet you for breakfast. Tell me to suck it up.
Suck it up.
Sir, you could have sent me an email.
You could have just ignored my. You could have ignored my unhappiness if that was the master plan.
Right.
If the
If he was going to take no help.
At the end of the day, you have nothing positive to add. We could have pretended. We didn't have to do this. I didn't ask to meet with you. You asked to meet with me.
Yeah.
To tell me, girl, that's life until you make partner. And y'all not happy either. You're not going to convince me. So whatever. But yeah, sorry, a little segue there.
We talked to you, Nyam, inside of the Get Your Next 3 Clients Challenge. Was your business already up and running when you came into the challenge? Do you remember? Was it just an idea when you came?
Up and running, but still like struggling in terms of getting clients. And so that was the big reason why I joined, because wanting to have kind of another avenue of learning in terms of like what skills do I need to cultivate? How do I need to grow in terms of connecting into a client base?
Okay. And how's it working? How are things going today?
Yeah, I think it's still been kind of to the point of the evolution and transformation. I still continue to need to stretch in terms of being like, all right, you're going to offer a service and people are going to pay you. You're going to invite people to work with you and they're going to pay you. There really is something in terms of like the mental aspect of the money, the money exchange. What I found really impactful from the challenge though was one, I think the way that y'all framed it as being in community with your people. I think being of service. It's not just that you're like, oh, okay, like just pay me some money, right? But you're really deeply understanding for my community and people, like this is where they're feeling pain. Like this is where they're communicating, I need this. And so what I'm offering is it's not snake